Good morning, YouTube. This is J Money, aka Jamil here, and as promised, bringing you guys. Tessa is going second against, as I've said before, featuring VFD, Conductor Tyranno, a card in hand. It's gonna be this guy for now. He's generally left out in the dust a bit. When it comes to hands, he's less straggling in a sense. And dinosaurs really don't use traps at all. Unless it's a pillars. But, you know. We're already going to start with VFD already of detaching material and calling Earth. Because that's generally that is the most commonly called attribute. Even after the ban list, Earth will still be called because dinosaurs will probably be the most represented deck. So... shoot, man, it's gonna be hard to get this into the camera because I gotta freaking I gotta display a bunch more space, so that's less space for the deck. So let's get started. We are going second, so we're going to start with 6 cards. Last time I did this, I kept doing 5 cards. So okay, so Earth has been called. Keep that in mind. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get this started. Let's go ahead and summon our chicken. It's level 4 since you know they control monsters and I don't. So that explains the whole level 4 thing. I don't want the desires right away, but I have to. So that's 4, 8, 10, 2. See what we went ahead and banished first. Okay, a B, a hanger, a set rotation, a set rotation. Whew, that's 4 field spells gone. Okay, not too helpful. Okay, so now at this point I'm free to go ahead and summon C, and at this point, once a second monster hits the board, Ultimate Conductor will generally activate its effect, so they're going to go for that. And I'm going to chain enemy control. Did you already stop by the bank?
No.
Cheese Danish? Oh, awesome. Well, I got a kolache and a cheese Danish, which is awesome. So, Tyranno's going to go off, and I'm going to chain enemy controller. And I'm going to go ahead and tribute. I'm going to snatch this. So, you know what? This is weird, because if the turn player goes for the effect, and it's now on my board, then what happens? Okay. Then you can destroy one monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change. I guess since the turn player triggered the effect, they get to be the one to actually finish it, I guess? I don't know. Like, does it say anything about you must be face up on your board? No, this is so confusing. This is really tricky, because this could actually be, if somebody knows anything about this, like since destroying the monster in hand isn't cost, who gets to resolve the effect? I mean, I know that the opposing player went for the effect, but since it hasn't completely resolved and it's under my control, who's resolving the effect? Does the effect resolve it all now that it's not on their board? This is really, really tricky. And so I can't necessarily say I resolved because my opponent started the ignition. But it's no longer on his board, so I don't think he can go through with the effect. So I'll go ahead and play it and do it that way, to where the effect just doesn't resolve for now. So now C's effect has been triggered. We're going to go ahead and special summon A, since they called Earth. Now, since you don't want Conductor on the board, now everything is still negated on the field, and you can't attack. So I can't swing at VFD. However, I can link summon and get the Tyranno off the field. Get it off the board to where it doesn't really threaten me all too much. Now, what would be the best thing to go into? I would go into Decode Talker because you want to get rid of all your materials because of the Go Food that's in hand already. So Tyranno's going to the grave, and Decode Talker hits the board. And A is going to activate. I know you want the C still to be in the graveyard for your pieces, but in order to keep up with a dinosaur deck, if Tyranno's on the board, when you're getting suppressed by calamities, you need as many things as possible. You need as many cards in hand to keep walling up, to keep pushing back. So this is hand number 1. I didn't break it, but at the same time, I'm not going to lose. All you have to do is just essentially wait out the last VFD, or if they're smart enough, and let's say this is in hand, and they can detach and call fire, then they can reveal Vanisher and go off like that. Granted, you're going to take quite a bit of damage, but you draw next turn, and you don't have to worry about VFD fucking you up on that turn. So, with that being said, you have Gofus, and you have Gadget, and you have C in hand. You can link with these. You can link with these. You can make a second Decode Talker, run over whatever your opponent has with no problem. So that's hand number 1, guys. It's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and reset. Now, granted, if we did not have the enemy controller, this would be heavily out of our favor. Now, another thing that you don't want to really do is, I know Tyranno's on the board, and I know you want to wall up, and I know it will be tempting to activate things like Union Hanger to get your stuff, but if you reveal what deck you're playing, if you give your opponent that knowledge of what it is you have and what you're actually playing, it ends up worse for you in the long run. And what do I mean by this? In particular, if I activated Union Hanger, that would give away that I'm playing Buster, and then my opponent instead can just activate VFD on their turn and call light into where nothing floats, and I get absolutely nothing from even attempting to wall up, and they have free reign over me. So this is hand number 2. Let's go ahead. They called Earth. Now, in this instance, I really, really want to, like, when it comes to Tyranno, though, walling up is, like, the worst thing you could possibly do, because the more you wall up with C's and all that, the more he gets to just continue to swing, and deal even more damage. And essentially what you're just trying to look for is to protect yourself. But you can summon something in attack mode so they don't just send these to the graveyard and these won't trigger. But at the same time, if this is in attack mode, you float and you keep summoning things in attack mode and Tyranno keeps swinging, it's still bad on your part, or they can just VFD you and just turn everything off. So what is the best option here? Well, the best option is to indeed play Union Hanger at this point. You are under Earth. Since they call Earth, you can go ahead and you can search your we're gonna search C. Smartest thing you can do right now. And now we're gonna, oh yeah, you can't swing though, that's the problem. There is absolutely 0 point in summoning this. What you want to do now is you want to get them to use VFD on their turn rather than on your turn again and lock you out. You know, while it's your go, so Hanger is going to trigger. And I didn't summon Gofu because once again I don't want to sit here and just give Conductor just another attack target and just more opportunities to do damage. We're gonna go and set that, and that'll be all. They would draw for turn. If they're smart, they call light. At this point, Tyranno can't have free reign because for one, B is under VFD for starters. It's under VFD, which means Tyranno can't just keep swinging VFD would have to swing over this first, and then Tyranno. No effects gonna go off. So unfortunately, B and C are gonna go out. They're gonna be down for the count. But VFD has used all of its effects, and essentially you have a fighting chance with 2 gadgets. Make lightning, make whatever it is you need to make. Actually, you won't even be able to because Tyranno still has an effect. So, in essence, that's kind of bad. And with this face down, it's useless if you can't make Buster. If you don't have C, that kind of sucks. So that's a bust too. Hand number 2, you were hanging in there for a little bit, but you were too reliant on that next draw. The next draw really matters. So, that being said, let's go with hand number 3. This might be the last hand, but if we can fight back, and if we can actually get the Tyranno off the board and whatnot, then we can go on to hand 4 and 5. Okay, they're still under Earth. And don't forget, Tyranno still has an effect. Oh man, I started with a 5-card hand last time, didn't I? Okay, there's a skill drain. We now have our edge. We now have our way to dominate our opponents. So, not necessarily dominate, but you know what I mean. We're just going to activate Hanger, and we're going to do as much as we can do. We're going to get our C out of there. That's fine. And we're still under Earth, so we can't necessarily just put up, at this point, you don't want to summon this because Tyranno can completely turn off Hanger, so you're going to end up normaling this instead. They're going to Tyranno, and they're going to blow up, and they're going to set everything. And you're going to go and set, and you're going to pass turn. Now, in this situation, since they already know that these aren't here, they're not going to even attempt to use VFD because they don't need to, because Tyranno can dodge all that. So they will go straight into battle phase. You flip this into the battle phase. When they swing into the gadget will float to summon Silver Gadget. And at that point, there's no point to swing at Silver Gadget because, you know, it'll just float again. So this will get banished. Now it's your time to shine. We're gonna play our C Crush Wyvern because that's what we do. Equip our B Buster Drake. So far, so good, right, guys? So now that Hanger has remained on the board and we drew our set rotation, we can go and activate, and we can go and activate another one. So that's set. Oracle of Zephyr is set. Now it's gonna activate. We're gonna add our A. We're gonna add our Assault Core. Now we have everything we need. Even though we are under skill drain, everything is going to float. Proxy Dragon comes out first, which C Chainlink 1, B Chainlink 2. So we're gonna go ahead and add a B. No, we're gonna add a C because we are going to wait. There's no point, but we'll add C anyway because why not? We're gonna special. We're gonna make the code. Then we are going to make our Dragon Buster. Now I shouldn't really need to tell anybody, but even though you're under skill drain, on your opponent's turn, you can still attempt to use your Buster effect to banish, like so, and then Chainlink 2 trip itself to create more spots. It's now off the board. This would still get banished. VFD will inevitably kill the Decode Talker, but you could draw and make another one and float again and make another buster, deal with the VFD on that grounds, and then get rid of the skill drain whenever you're ready to absolutely just go ham on your opponent. So that was actually pretty good. This is hand 3. Like we're 2 out of 3. We're 15 minutes in, so I'll just probably just cut it there. So it's just a little demonstration on some of these. When it comes to buster, I think I've said it the last video, but when it comes to ABC buster, it's more it's not very crap. When it comes to breaking these boards, when it comes to buster especially, it takes time. Sometimes it takes 1 to 2 to 3 turns to just. It's more or less, if you're on the back burner with this deck, if it's like against the wall, you kind of have to just start slow and it'll be like a snowball effect where things get worse and worse or better and better for you because you're netting more and more advantage as turns go by because the pieces continue to keep floating and you're continuing to wall up and you're just biding your time until you're ready to make your move to spring out on your opponent, you know, whereas you have, you know, things like, you know, skill drain, scramble union to completely just play into their cards with buster and use those pieces you summon to make other things like Castell, Tornado Dragon, Diamond Dire, Lightning, get more things off the board or bait out more back row, then make your buster knowing you're safe, and things to that matter. So guys, that is that's it for this one. The next one I'm going to post some replays on this new app called YGO Mobile for World Chalice, and so stay tuned for that, guys, and you guys have a good day.